स्टोरी है, इंपॉर्टेंट फोकस एरिया वो FIs की सेलिंग ही है। और इस पर बातचीत करने के लिए गुरराज सिंह संघा जी हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं और टोकन मैट्रिक्स से, उनसे ज़रा करते हैं बातचीत। गुरराज सर, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, थैंक यू वेरी मच, आज आप ET नाउ स्वदेश को समय दे रहे हैं, अच्छा लग रहा है आपसे बातचीत करके। सर, मेरा तो बहुत ही बेसिक सा सवाल है, FIs इंडिया में सेलिंग क्यों कर रहे हैं और ये सेलिंग कब रुकेगी?
There are a number of different reasons. Primarily, because there's been a change in Federal Reserve policy over the last several months for going towards tightening and also reducing asset purchases until eventually they start selling their assets. That's affected emerging markets, and in particular, India's benefited greatly from the sort of easy monetary policy, not only by the Fed, but the other central banks, and all of the emerging markets have. And as that policy shifted, a lot of the investors in emerging markets, recognizing that shift, have started to liquidate some of their assets. It hasn't been too bad for India, though, because most of the overall the Indian market has held up relatively well because the selling has been offset by retail buying.
Well, in that case, Mr. Sangha, we also want to understand because, of course, in other emerging markets, we know the sentiment is not that bullish the way an emerging market like India has. And since FIs had a profitable position in Indian market, and that is the reason they sold it out also. Are you seeing a trend that they are also selling in another emerging markets?
Yes. In many emerging markets, foreign investors have started. Actually, over the last several months, have not only liquidated assets, but repositioned assets to, in anticipation of higher interest rates in general, and also a stronger dollar, which is driving part of this reallocation. The other side of the coin is that the degree to which emerging markets can hold up well in the light of this selling, because their own domestic economies are strong. Those ones will fare well, but not every market is going to fare. Those which have a large amount of dollar-denominated debt, that will become problematic, as we've seen in some of the more emerging markets like Turkey and countries like that. But the rest should do okay. It just takes probably 6 to 7 months for this reallocation to occur.
Hi, Ajay here. Gurraj, if one really takes a step back and looks at the larger picture, the way yields are rising, the way FIs are selling all over the world, how long do you see this will go on? How much time do you think it will take to things to normalize in your view? Emerging markets are especially coming under pressure.
Historically, from the time that there's been a shift in monetary policy till the time that there's an actual rise in rates, it's usually around the time the first rate rise occurs that most markets tend to reach an inflection point. It's sort of the saying that in this case would be selling the rumor, buying the fact. So assets get sold into the anticipation of the first rate hike. When it actually occurs, they tend to reverse and bottom, and there tends to be some sort of relief rally. So given that and the anticipated first move by the Federal Reserve around March, I would anticipate sometime in March we should see most of this selling abate and have at least 3 to 4 months of probably consolidative type of action before there's another major move.
Thank you very much for your time, Gurraj. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए। अपने व्यूअर्स को बता दें कि गुरराज सिंह सांघा इंडियन ओरिजिन के हैं। कई साल पहले, कई दशक पहले पढ़ने के लिए US गए थे और ऑफ कोर्स कई सालों से वो मैक्रो और क्वांट बेस्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट मैनेजमेंट साइड पे हैं। बड़े बड़े फंड्स के साथ काम कर चुके हैं और ऑफ कोर्स अभी अपनी नई कंपनी के साथ हमसे बात कर रहे थे वहाँ से। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर टाइम, गुरराज। तो गुरराज, द जिस्ट जो बात थी गुरराज की वो ये थी कि यूजुअली गोइंग इनटू द इवेंट ऑफ द फर्स्ट रेट हाइक, मतलब पहली रेट हाइक के इवेंट में जो महीने होते हैं उसमें FIIs एक्चुअली कस के सेल करते हैं, जो हम देख रहे हैं ऑलरेडी। और जब पहला रेट हाइक आता है तो वहाँ पे जाके स्टेबलाइज होता है। तो मार्च में जिस हिसाब से उम्मीदें बन रही है पहला रेट हाइक US में आएगा और वहाँ पे तो कुछ हफ्ते और हैं, आपको इस वॉलेटिलिटी के साथ कुछ हफ्ते और ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा। तो ये गुरराज का व्यू है। इनफैक्ट कुछ दिन पहले निकुंज डालमिया ने बातचीत भी की थी राकेश